This video is sponsored by Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. Click on the link in the description and use the code PackerMan to save 10% on any order. What's happening, ladies and germs? This is the PackerMan, and welcome to this edition of The Fuel, where we're going to be talking about the 2023 EchoPark Automotive Texas Grand Prix Cup Series race from the Circuit of the Americas. Let me tell you something. I'm going to this review might be a little bit longer than some of the others I've done in the Cup Series so far this year, but you want to talk about a wasted opportunity. This race, in fact, all three of the races from the Circuit of the Americas weekend, they were all without stage breaks. It was the first time since 2016 that we've had a race in NASCAR without stage breaks. And let me tell you something. That was refreshing as all hell. And it certainly had... It made all three races have more of a natural feel to it. It did. It had a more natural flow to it, you know. And what it certainly does is it helps the strategies of the road courses. And that was certainly in play, in particular during the Cup race as well. So this race had a more natural feel to it. And it was awesome. This race pretty much came down to William Byron, at least for most of it, William Byron versus Tyler Reddick. Although let's be completely real here. Tyler Reddick was the class of the field for this race. I mean, there's just no question about it. Let me change the color here. Let's do that. Tyler Reddick was pretty much the class of the field. I think he led like 45 laps of the race, so at least 2/3 of the race. Hold on, let me check. Racing reference real quick. But I mean, yeah, not having any stage cautions, I mean, it felt like a natural race. And let me tell you something. That is a feeling that I have missed in NASCAR for years. And honestly, it's something that needs to be done for all the races, not just the road courses. If they want to keep the stages and still award points that way, you know, if they want to keep stages but keep the races green but still award points, I'd be fine with that. I would absolutely be fine with that. But keep the races green. Keep the natural feel to a race. Because let me tell you something. When this happened at Circuit of the Americas and we had the natural progression of a race, it's like, let's do this for all the races again. I want it back. Now that I've had a taste of it once again, I want it back. I want it back now. Tyler Reddick led 41 laps. It was supposed to be a 68 lap race, but it ended up being 75. We'll get to that. Trust me. Because that has been a growing pet peeve of mine. But stage 1 into stage 2 and then stage 3, it definitely had a bit of a slow burn feel to it. But strategies were abound. You had 2-stop guys and you also had guys on the 3-stopper. Tyler Reddick was one of those on the 3-stopper, but his car was so fucking fast that it just didn't seem to matter. So you had Reddick pitting from the lead on lap 33. He was part of the 3-start group. Byron was back to the lead, but Reddick catches back up and passes Byron for the lead. That ended up being the second pure caution of the day. And then they decided to throw the caution on lap 42 for debris in turn 9, which was the dirt being kicked up onto the track because there were people, you know, trying to cut as close to the corner as they could. And that dirt was actually causing a little bit of issues. So they decided to get that cleaned up. So Logano stayed out and led on the restart. Byron got the lead on the restart with Chastain up to second and Reddick in third. And my first thought was, this is looking like it's going to be Byron versus Reddick for the win, because they've been the class of the field all day. But while the two were battling, Chastain and Bowman snuck into the picture. We had a third pure lead change on lap 47 when Tyler Reddick took the lead from William Byron. But then fuel started to become an issue. A lot of the front runners were short on fuel. Reddick and Byron for sure. Chastain may have been close, but the guy who was now in fourth, Daniel Suarez, they were good on fuel. So now all of a sudden you had a 4-car battle for the lead in the late going of this race. And you had 3 guys that were kind of iffy on fuel. And the 4th guy, Suarez, who is good on fuel, and is like he can run as hard as he wants. And I was thinking, this is going to be a classic. If this race ran green, this was going to be a classic race. Yeah, until the caution came out on lap 56 when Brad Keselowski decides to come to a stop in the S's. NASCAR needs to learn the prospect of full course yellows. They really do. So a lot of cars came in for service. It's like, okay. Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kimi Räikkönen. There were actually 2 former Formula One world champions racing in this race. Kimi Räikkönen, who is on the Project 91 deal with Trackhouse Racing, and Jenson Button, who was driving for Rick Ware, the Rick Ware number 15 car. So we had 2 former Formula One world champions in this race, which was pretty cool. But all those guys stayed out. Bell leads on the restart with 9 laps to go. Now here's the thing, Kyle Busch stayed out because during that green flag run, they decided, you know what, let's stop and get tires and fuel and see what happens. And he ended up getting a runner-up finish out of the deal. So Reddick grabs the lead on the restart. Then we have another caution on lap 62 when several cars spin in turn 1 and Chastain is unable to get going. So Byron gets the lead on the next restart and Bell gets dumped in the S's. Reddick gets the move done in turn 11 with 5 laps to go. Something, and we still could have another good finish. We have our 4th pure lead change on lap 64, and then we have our 6th caution on lap 65 for debris, possibly from the 3-car losing a tire. And we're going to overtime. Fucking yay. This is when the finish just completely took a dump. Reddick leads on the first overtime restart, and several cars spin off in turn 1. Go fucking figure. And Busch gets up to 2nd, and we have a caution for debris from the 12 car's tire going down. And at this point, I'm just like... At this point, 4 of the first 6 Cup races have gone to overtime. So Reddick leads on the 2nd overtime restart, and then we have another caution in the 2nd overtime when we had more chaos in turn 1 and Daniel Suarez's tire came apart on the track. This shit is why I hate overtimes, and I have said this time and time again. These overtimes need to fucking go. It is time to get rid of them. Because all they have done is cause bullshit for the finishes of these races. And there's another race that happened at Texas for the Truck Series that I will be talking about in the same vein. But yeah, these overtimes need to fucking go. I am done with the fucking overtimes because all it does is cause a bunch of chaos and carnage and bullshit, and I'm just fucking sick of it. So Reddick leads on the 3rd overtime restart, but he holds everyone off. He actually pulls away from everybody, so the finish was just a laugher. And he takes the victory at the Circuit of the Americas. A good race, spoiled by all the goddamn cautions and overtimes. I mean, this was similar to the Daytona 500. That race was shaping up to be a classic as well. And then you had all them fucking cautions and overtimes at the end, and it completely ruined the fucking finish for me. And that's the same thing that happened here. This race was probably going to get an 8, maybe even a 9. But after this overtime bullshit, it loses several points because of that. So, yeah, it's disappointing because this was shaping up to be a fucking classic. The natural feel of the race was awesome with the no stage breaks, which is something that needs to happen for every single race, not just the road courses. And it was shaping up to be a great finish, an intriguing finish, and it was ruined by fucking stupid cautions. Go figure. That just seems to be the trend this year for NASCAR, and I fucking hate it. So, with that in mind, my final rating for the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas is a 6 out of 10. What's happening, ladies and germs? Thank you for watching tonight's video. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, there is a link to my Patreon down in the description box below. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe if you want to continue watching great content like you saw today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, this is the PackerMan signing out.